Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I'm a scrapaholic. I bet that wasn't what you were expecting me to say, but I'm also sure that there are those of you out there who can relate to this, and my big downfall are delicate lacy cutting dies and pattern paper, which makes absolutely no sense at all because I usually end up making my own backgrounds. So why I'm addicted to pattern paper, I have no idea. But I found something that's very helpful to me to keep me from buying pattern paper, and that's the freebie downloadable pattern papers that you can find online. And I used some pattern papers that I found and printed out on my printer. And these are from, let me get the paper in here. It's lianascrap.com, and they're very, very easy to download. And the best thing about downloading and printing your own pattern papers is there's several things. One is that it doesn't cost very much, and you can print out only the papers that you want to use right then at that time. And that leads us to the second thing. You don't have to store pattern paper. So those are two big bonuses right there. You don't have to store it, and you don't have pattern papers in the packet you get that you're never going to use. So you can print just what you want. If you don't have a color printer, my best advice is to get the best color printer you can afford that has the least expensive ink cartridges. So many times if you buy a printer that is very cheap, well, for one thing, it may not print very nicely. The second thing is that they're going to make their money somewhere, and that's usually when it comes time for you to buy your refill color cartridges. So that's my advice. So there's also another website, and this is farfarhill.blogspot.com, and these people have just tons and tons of pattern paper for free that you can download. That one's a little bit more tricky to download. On my blog, I'll put a link to a website. It's what is it? Granny Enchanted or Enchanted Granny? I forget which that is, but I'll put a link to. They have a very informative page and humorous. It is quite funny, but on how to download the Far Hill downloads. So let's get going with the card. So for today, from the first website, lianascrap.com, I downloaded some pattern paper, and this was from, let's see, I have it right here. Oh yes, it was Dancing in the Sky, and I downloaded these two patterns, or I printed these two patterns, and they coordinate beautifully with the pool party cardstock from Stampin' Up. Who'd have thought, right? So this is what I used to make this card, and I also used for my inks, I used Pool Party and Coastal Cabana. The card we're going to make today is not going to be using those. Instead, we're going to be using, we're going to do a Flirty Flamingo pathway, and I downloaded this paper, and let me get this out, and this paper, well, these are all in the same paper pack, but I printed these two out to use in the card, and that's from, Sweet Cameo. So Dancing in the Sky for the pool party color one, Sweet Cameo for the Flirty Flamingo colorways. But this is how our card is. So I've got this nice little bow, and it's like a glitter organza bow on the front. And then it opens up like this, and then it opens up again. And no, I did not put a message on the inside. And my explanation for that is that I found somewhere to donate my excess cards, but they like it to be generic, and they give them to patients in a nursing home. So this is the card we're going to make, except it's going to be Flirty Flamingo colors. So what we're going to need to do that is we're going to need some Whisper White cardstock, and this was the thick, and it's cut to 11 by 6, and then I scored it at 1 inch and 3 inch on this side, and I flipped it around and again scored it at 1 inch and 3 inch. So that's our card base, or part of our card base. Then we also need another piece, and this was just plain Whisper White, and this is 4.5 by 11, and that's scored and folded at 5.5. So that makes this bit of our card. And I also, let's see, what else do I have here? I have other bits here that I've got cut out. And for our mats, we have another piece of Whisper White, and this is 5 by 4, and a Flirty Flamingo piece that's 5.25 by 4.25, so it's just a little bit bigger. And then I have a bunch of strips here. So I have, and I cut these from my pattern paper. This is the lighter bit of it, and these are, let's see, they're 1 and I didn't write it down. These are 1 3/4 by 5 3/4, and these bits will go right here on our card. Then I have 2 more strips here that are 2 inch, I believe. Yes, they are 2 inch by 6 inch. And we're going to use our cutting die from Sweetheart Borders by Heartfelt Creations. We'll be using this border die, and we will line this up right along this one edge and cut that out so we have a nice wide piece there, and then that will go on the inside of our card on these little wings here. So I'll put those aside. I'll stop the video and go cut these out in a little bit. Then also from the Sweetheart Borders, we're going to use this big die, but we're only going to use a tiny bit of this. Let me bring in my, okay, so there's your die. This is what it looks like when you cut it out. We're just going to use this little strip here, that little bit there, so that will coordinate with our other die cut that we're going to do, and it'll give us just a nice little narrow strip, and that will go on top of some little Flirty Flamingo strips, and that will go on the very front here of the card. And I'm going to use this paper, and I'm going to, and I know it's made to go this way, but for these little bits it's not going to matter, so I'm going to cut that out and try to pick up some of the darker color in these little fleur-de-lis on the pattern paper. So let me put that all together here, because I'll do that die cutting too off screen, so you don't have to watch that. Okay, so we do need 2 little Flirty Flamingo strips, and these are 3/4 inch wide by 5 3/4. So those will go on the front here with our little lacy bit on the top of those. And then from the Botanic window die set, that's also Heartfelt Creations, we'll use a piece of that with the darker color fleur-de-lis and cut one of these windows out. And this is the one, okay, let me show you on the back here. That's this one right here. So we'll be cutting that piece out. And does that cut the inside? It does not cut the inside, so it's going to have a whole big solid bit of that. And then there's this die also that just cuts this in this shape right here. So we're going to cut that. I have that cut out of the Whisper White, just plain Whisper White, not the thick, just plain Whisper White, and that will go in our card also. So we're going to need 2 10-inch pieces of this organza ribbon, and mine has a little bit of a glitter to it, so that's nice. We'll be using that. And the inks we're going to use are Blushing Bride and Flirty Flamingo, and they coordinate beautifully with this paper. I don't know how this happens, but that's how it worked out. And I also have a sponge here. I didn't do it on the original card, but I think I'll sponge around the edges of some of my papers, or maybe I won't. I might change my mind. I'm using the Dries Clear Adhesive Art Glitter Dries Clear. So I have a little nasty rough sponge here that I will use to apply the glue to my lacy bits. And then we will also be embossing one of the pieces, and I'm using the Sparkle Texture Impressions embossing folder. That's by Stampin' Up, or from Stampin' Up, and we'll be using that to add just a little something something to the inside of our card. And I used the Very Vintage stamp set, and this is a hostess gift from Stampin' Up. With a $150 order, you get Stampin' rewards. So you would get $15 for a $150 order. You get 10% once you hit $150. And I got that using Stampin' rewards. So I'm using this one right here with all these lovely roses. And then also I'm going to stamp it with One of the Best Things in Life is You. And then of course on the inside you can stamp whatever sentiment you would like to have on the inside. You could put like Dear Friend, Happy Birthday, or Your Dear Friend, You're a Blessing. You could put Thank You So Much. Whatever you need the card for. So let me go and get all the little bits die cut, and then we'll come back and we can put the card together then, because there's nothing else to do. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've got all my little things cut out here. And just one thing I wanted to point out. When you're cutting this die out on the edge here, if you're using a pattern paper that has a definite pattern to it, make sure that when you put it down, you put one on this side, and then you turn it around and put this on the other side, because you'll want them to be opposites of each other. Okay, so I've got those pieces cut out. I have that little border piece already done, and I'm going to show you what I did, which is nothing terribly exciting. But on this die cut, it has a nice little it has a nice little bar across the bottom here. I was thinking border and ended up combining that. So we're going to cut just to the other side of that little bar. And that will be our little lacy embellishment for the front. And this is a nice little piece here that it could be used somewhere else, but am I going to keep it? No, I am not. I'm going to throw that away. And when you're doing these lacy dies, this thing here will be your best friend. These little brush tool things, I'll add them down in the materials used. At the very least, a pokey tool, or less, very much less, a pin. You use a pin, but I don't like the pins because I can never find them when I want to use them. So I like the pokey tools. Oh, by the way, Stampin' Up! Is coming out with this cool tool. Then it's got a pokey tool on it. It has you can flip it around. It has like a little spatula thing to position like stickers or like bigger embellishments. It has a on the other end of the tool, it's got a little sticky end on it to pick up like sequins and stuff. So it looks pretty cool. I think I'm gonna have to get myself one of those. So you might be seeing those in some videos. But that's something, they're coming out with that in September. So when the holiday catalog comes out, September 5th will be I think it's September 5th. September 5th, let's say that. Let's just say September 5th is when you'll get to start ordering from that catalog, and I'll put the PDF for that up on my Facebook page and my blog as soon as I'm allowed to. So I hope I'm not telling tales out of school by telling you about the tool that they are coming out with. There's a lot of nice Christmas stuff in there too. Yeah, wait till you see it. Okay, so let's start putting this all together. I'm going to start with this card base. Well, our secondary card base anyway. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way here. And this will go on first. Get my glue out here. I'm doing an awful lot of talking in this video, aren't I? So what do you think? Should we get a support group going? I'm sure I'm not the only craftaholic out there. I need somebody to say, no, you don't need that. I find all these wonderful things I have to have. Okay, so there's our Flirty Flamingo mat down. Oh, this one has to be embossed. Oh, why didn't I emboss this before when I went over and cut these out? Alright, I'm off to see Mr. Big Shot on the other side of my room, and I'll be right back with this piece embossed. Okay, I'm back again, and I've got this embossed, but I'm going to use the deboss side. I'm going to use the side where all these little crosses, plus signs, stand up from the paper. So let me put some of my glue on the back here. If you're a tape fan, I still recommend using glue on things that are embossed, because you don't want to press down on that real hard and then take away all that nice embossing that you've done on it. So we'll just center that in there. coming. I hope I put that on the right. Yeah, I did. Good. Whew. So next will be this piece, and I'm just going to put glue on here. I'm not going to put any glue on these little edges here, but I do think I'm going to sponge the edges though. So I'm going to use the Flirty Flamingo, and let me get my little makeup sponge here, and I'm going to dab that off here, off to the side, just to get that ink work down into my sponge a bit. This will help it to stand out from the white a little bit better. It just gives it a nicer, just gives it a little more finished look too. But mainly on this one, I just want it to stand out from the white a little bit more. Okay, so I've got that done, and I'll put my glue on. Da, 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 da. And it will extend past your piece of white. It's more like the size of the Flirty Flamingo piece. So if you line up the bottom of it with the bottom of the Flirty Flamingo piece, and then just give that a little press. Okay. And then we'll stamp our centerpiece here. And I'm using the Blushing Bride and the stamp from the very vintage set with all the lovely roses on it. Let me move this aside a little bit and bring this in the center here. And did I have that all inked up real well? Let me ink that a little bit more. Alright, so I'm just going to press that down, 1, 2, 3, and straight up, and there's all of our lovely roses. And I can close up the Blushing Bride and get that out of here. And then with the Flirty Flamingo, I'm going to stamp the sentiment. I'm going to put that down here in the corner and see if I can line this up. So straight down and straight up. So that's all ready now. So I'll bring this back. Put my glue on the back here. And we'll just center that here inside our little decorative part. This would be a lovely card just as this is, but I can't leave things well enough alone, so I had to do more. I always have to do more, it seems. Okay, so now we have all of these bits we need to attach. I'm going to sponge the edge of these two pieces that go on the outside, because they're going to go against the white, and I want it to show up a little bit better. So I'll do this real quick. Get a little bit of that Flirty Flamingo on there. Okay. And this one, I could have done this off camera too, but well, what the heck. I seem to have gotten a lot of Stampin' Up commercials in on this video. You know what, while I'm doing, I think I'll do these two pieces too. Might as well while I have my sponge handy. I'm not going to do the little strips, I decided, because they're going against a Flirty Flamingo background. So they should show up really nicely without doing anything further to them. So let me get this one done. There we go. So I don't need the sponge anymore now. So I can put that aside. Where, oh, where shall we start? Let's start with our two little strips of Flirty Flamingo. Let's put those down. And they'll go on this, just this little bit here where you scored it at 1 inch. And we just want to center those within that area. And get this other one down. And there we go. And I see I got a little ink there. That's alright. That's going to be covered up. And let's see. Let's put these down because when we put these down, there's nothing else we have to do to them. And these will go on the outside here on this little wing. So in that 2-inch wide section. Line that up between the score lines and the folds here. And did I put that upside down? I think I might have. I think it'll look better this way. Here we go. So we've got that bit down. And then we'll put this one down. Okay, so looking good so far. Okay, so now let's put our little strips on. And I'm just going to put, I'm going to put a little puddle of glue here. And I'll get my little scratchy sponge. I'm not terribly fond of these sponges, except for putting glue down. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to line it up. I'm going to come in about, looks like about 1/4 of an inch, maybe less. And line that up. And these little bumps on the edges here, on the top and on the bottom, they'll go just a little tiny bit over your Flirty Flamingo piece. So expect that to happen. Don't think that you stretched your die cut out in some way. Oh, almost lost that sponge. Good thing it didn't hit the floor. That would have been the last I saw of it. Sure, it would have been gone forever in the black hole in my craft room. Or there could be a cat hiding under my table here just waiting for me to drop something. They're quite bad, my kitties. They steal my sponges, they steal my dimensional flowers. Okay, so now we can go, let's go on the inside here. And on this one, I'm not gonna glue the lacy bits. I'm just gonna glue this big solid part. Alright, so how do I want it to go? Do I want it to go this way? Or do I want it to go with the lace facing out. Decisions. I think maybe the lace facing out. So we'll want to put them in like this. Make sure your pattern's going the right way here. Oh no, you know what I did? I glued down some bits I shouldn't have glued down yet. This is going to go just inside the score line and top to bottom on here. You know what? I glued these down. I'm not supposed to have glued these down yet. Let me see if I can... Oh no, no. I need to peel these up because we have to put our ribbon in there. Oh dear. Okay. This is kind of messy looking. Let's see if I can get this one peeled up. Come on, paper. Oh my goodness. Well, I certainly made a mess there. You know what? I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to get myself some new pieces. Because what else can I do at this point? And I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back again, and I redid these little strips for the front, and this time we're going to attach our ribbon before we glue it down. So let's flip those pieces over. Okay, we want our lace, I want my lace to face in like this on my card. So I want the ribbon coming out that way on each of these strips. I want the ribbon facing that way on this strip. So I'm going to take these strips, I'm going to turn them over. So now our ribbon will be coming out in that direction. And on my original, I just glued them, but in order to save a little bit of time because I messed up, I'm going to tape the ribbon on, and I just put it on. I'm going to eyeball it in the middle. Let's see. You could measure if you like. So I'll put this one right next to this other strip so my ribbons line up. Okay, so now I have my ribbons on. Oh, I can't believe I did that. I should have known things were just going too smoothly in this video. Here we go. And I put glue over the ribbon also. So now, let's move that over the side here. Now I can line this strip up. Nope. See, I'm going the wrong way. We want the ribbons going in. So there we go. All lined up, all glued down. And flip our ribbon out of the way, and we'll do this side. Got myself all discombobulated here. And we'll line this one up, center that on our little 1-inch bit here. And there we go. Ta-da! Ribbons! It had to have the ribbon. It just had to have that ribbon. There is no two ways about it. Okay, so now we can put this piece, it's our interior card, And we'll just line that up. We're going to center that on the inside. This really is a lovely card. And you wouldn't know it by my directions, but it is very easy to put together. Okay, so now I'm going to very carefully tie a bow on this ribbon because I'm sure that glue's not quite dry yet. If I wanted the glue to stay wet, it wouldn't have. But since I want to just move on with my card and finish it up. Oh, come on, bow. You can bet it won't dry fast this time. So I'm being very, very careful. And we'll just tweak our bow a little bit, make it pretty. Get that good tug there. Get it centered. And then we'll just trim our little ends. I'm just going to cut an angle on each of these ends. And our card is complete. So, if you've liked this video, mistakes and all, then please hit the like button down below. If there are any Stampin' Up! Products that you'd like to purchase from this video, you can do that either through my blog or my Facebook page. I will have, on my blog, I'll have that little direction thing for downloading from this one company here, this Far Hill company. Oh, another thing I want to tell you about this company. When you download it, it's going to take you to another page to download. Do not use that when you have children around, because some of the ads on there are downright, they're pornographic. There's no other way to say it. They're pornographic ads. So don't let your children see it. And don't be, well, you might be shocked anyway, but you've been forewarned that they have those images on there. So anyway, y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.